can't believe how much you guys have missed. Let me show you what I've been up to for the past 3 weeks. I've been really wanting to paint a drag queen for a couple years now, and I was thinking to myself like, oh, I need to become friends with a drag queen so that it wouldn't be weird if I asked to paint them. And then I was like, hold on, what if I became a drag queen? So the next day I drove to my local fabric store and I dropped like $300 in a full sewing kit. So we're kind of committed now. And that's classic me, you know, to think like, I really want to paint a drag queen, so I guess I have to spend 2 weeks learning how to sew a custom outfit from scratch. Whenever I try out a new medium, I hate the process of being taught, because it's kind of my instinct to take the materials and just run. So when I got my sewing machine, I learned how to thread it without jamming it up, and then I learned how to sew 2 pieces of fabric together. And once I tugged on it and it didn't come apart, I immediately shut my computer and stopped watching the tutorial, because I think that more instruction would make me less creative. So then I just started making shit up. I think I saw once that you can wrap yourself in duct tape to make a custom pattern. I'm not sure if that's even a thing or if I did it right, but mostly it actually worked, and I had a great time. Obviously, I'm not going to create the most polished garment ever, but that's not even my goal. I would rather spend an hour of my time doing something a lot more interesting than learning how to hem my garment perfectly. I may not have the technique when it comes to garment construction, but what I do have is the vision. With this project, I was using almost entirely upcycled materials, a bunch of like old stained sweatshirts that I cut up and pillowcases, and I found an old bag of t-shirts in my attic that we never got to donating. Later in the project, I did end up going to the fabric store and I bought like 3 yards of fabric that was a little bit more structured so that it would look nice over top of the corset, but beyond that, I tried to be as crafty as possible to bring this whole thing together. Once my garment was done, it was time to get in drag. The most important thing about getting in drag for me is transformation. I want to look completely unrecognizable. This was my first time ever seeing myself in full drag, and it was so uncomfortable, but I felt so fierce. The feeling of 80 hours of my work around my body was so rewarding, and it was really exciting to see my creativity through a new medium. I went by the window in my bathroom so that I could take some reference photos. Luckily, I got one that I think is pretty cool. I did a little bit of sketching, and then I cut out a new piece of canvas to start the painting. The idea of being a multidisciplinary artist is really appetizing to me. I always think it's really cool when people participate in multiple artistic disciplines at the same time. I always find that these disciplines kind of feed into each other, and it can add a lot of character to your art. I think that the art forms of drag and traditional, classically inspired painting intersect in a very interesting and unique way. I was able to think about fashion and makeup like a painter, and later on, I was able to think about my painting like a drag queen. I think it will be super interesting to see how my drag will look once it's transformed through my brush.